Am I really hosting tonight?
If you feel
Is
like
that
it.
is that really what's going on?
I mean, that's kind of the idea.
Well, it's
Yeah.
a good thing I was prepared. I'm just kidding. I'm
Were you?
not. No,
Were you
I was not.
though?
I was not. Good morning, everyone. This is the Good Morning Guys podcast. Joining me today is Patrick Novacell, and he's got a bunch of nicknames. Just listen to the last episode if you want to hear what those are. Um, and then we got Marc Boucher.
Yo.
What? What? He gets the boo boo bouche, and I'm like, whatever his
I
nickname
It's
mean,
this
is.
I'm just
guy.
kind of
It's
I'm
this
I'm
guy
just kind
over
of
here.
flying by the seat of my pants here. Like I don't know. I already
It's
said this is a Good Morning Guys podcast. You can follow or reach us at a number of different places that I don't know off the top of my head. So definitely listen to the last episode again. You want to get all
It's,
that information in our previous episode. That's
Good.
where you'll find it.
Go
Or the
check
show
the previous
notes.
episode or the show notes. It's episode
the
187, by the way.
show notes, whatever. If you want our best stuff, I recommend going back and listen to the very first episode.
Get out of here.
Ooh.
That's back when we were kids, back when we didn't know what we were doing,
The
Which
good
is-
old days.
which I'm so much more prepared now than I was back then. I actually
It
used to take
shows,
notes
yeah.
at the beginning. So
And that was a waste of time.
I know, right?
it's a waste of time. I don't use them anyways. So let's start with a little weekly update. Marc, you want to go first?
Oh,
Sure. Nice out, by the way.
I mean, did I miss out on something altogether?
No, you didn't. You sure didn't.
All right. I mean, I know I missed out on all the information. But
Yeah, I was gonna say you missed out on a lot of things. but
structurally, though, we're hitting the Cliff
we're-
Notes version.
Yeah, we're not knocking you for it.
yeah. Cliff notes like it.
So this past week has been kind of light on the real life side of things. It's just been kind of business as usual or life as usual.
Wait, hold on a second. We didn't, there's also someone who's here in spirit.
No,
we
we don't-
didn't even mention.
We're not talking about him.
No, he's not
Oh
remembering
my
the show.
gosh, he's gonna be yelling at this as he's listening next week. Like, what in the world? They forgot about me.
Yep, we did. We did totally forget about him. That's probably my bad. We do have a fourth member. He's usually the one that is talking through all of these things and not really stumbling and nailing it. That will be Lucas Swisher. Lucas Ham Swisher. He is only with us in spirit today.
Yep.
I don't
Indeed,
remember what he
indeed.
said he's got going on, but other
Yeah.
stuff.
He's in
So
another
He's
part
in-
of Brazil.
He's he's like just trekking through like a jungle somewhere with a machete. I'm pretty sure that's what he's doing.
That's exactly what I imagine.
Dude, did you see the pictures last time he went to the jungle with the giant spiders just like all over the walls and stuff? Tarantulas.
Why would you go back there?
It's,
like what? Like people sitting there for service with those monsters hanging down?
That's a whole load of
way.
no thanks.
Oh, I shouldn't even say hanging down. They're too heavy to hang. That's how big they are. They eat like
Jeez.
birds, I'm pretty sure.
Goodness.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
all. Sorry for interrupting,
And-
Mark.
No,
you're good.
anyways, yeah. that
Carry
was
on,
me.
sir.
Sorry.
You're good. Yeah, so the life side of things was pretty light this past week. It's just kind of things as normal. Mainly just getting excited, getting ready for MTTG 500 that's coming up this weekend. We'll be making the trip down to Franklin, Tennessee, which will
Yep.
be fantastic. Excited to see all those guys. On really the only IRL thing, and we'll talk more about it later on in the episode, is I did catch the first episode of Moon Knight, of course.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to go into specifics, but I did watch it, and it was a show that we watched. I just don't want to say too much.
Yeah. We at the end of
We'll
the
ruin it
show.
later.
If you're here at the end of the show, we will go ahead and put a bumper music, and that's your cue to get the heck out of here if you haven't seen Moon Knight episode 1.
Yep.
Otherwise, we are going to spoil the heck out of it as we close the show.
Sure, absolutely. On the gaming side of things, though, I have been hitting the ground running big time. At
Usually,
least-
usually when there's no life update, then there's a big time gaming update.
yeah, that's about it. That's about right. So first off, I have been playing the mess out of Fortnite this past week, and you're like, what?
What? What?
Well, ever since they put in that mode, that permanent mode that gets rid of building, that game is a lot more fun to me.
Yeah, I bet.
I really don't understand the building, honestly. People could just build like a tower out of nowhere in like 30 seconds.
Yeah,
There's no chance you're
it's mainly a defensive thing. You can build out of brick or wood, or I think there's metal as well, and you can just build these quick forts to build yourself a defense from enemies that are attacking you. And I have never been good at it, ever.
Oh, people are so fast at it. Like it's just like impossible to even get close to them.
Yeah, it's
Right.
insane. And even trying to do it on console is even worse. Because at least with mouse and keyboard, you can go through pretty quick. On console, it's a nightmare. You can set up a shortcut where it'll make it a little bit faster, but still, I've just never been able to get the hang of it. But they introduced Fortnite Zero Build mode, to where no building is allowed whatsoever. And that way, it just becomes a regular, fun battle royale game.
Man to man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've been playing mostly with Watson, our buddy Watson from formerly known as the Co-op Trio podcast. Now he is just going to streaming as King Amos. But I've been playing with him and some friends with his community, which has been a lot of fun. And then did play some Apex, of course, with Pat and Justin on Friday night for their April Fool's Day event, which was hilarious.
Yeah, it was.
So basically, the Mozambique, which if you're not familiar with Apex, is like one of the worst guns in the game.
True.
If not the worst. And usually it's the butt of every joke. And this year,
It's so bad.
What's that?
Why is the gun so bad?
It's just very weak and has a very small clip, and
it's a shotgun that's a handgun, and it's only got 3 bullets per clip.
Yeah,
it's horrendous.
And those shots are weak as crap.
It's like a pirate's pistol.
But
you never know what's going to
happen. More fun. Yeah, fair. But yeah, they've used that in their April Fool's pranks in the past. Like I think the first year they did it, they just made a super OP Mozambique that had a huge clip and did a bunch of damage. They did it a second year, but it wasn't near as powerful. This year, so instead of its normal rounds, so Respawn, they have this little mascot that they like to use in all of their games. It's a little Nessie plush figure. That they like to put in all of their games. And when you would shoot the Mozambique in this game, it would shoot out these giant Nessies, and they would attack your enemies, whoever you shot.
We're talking about Nessies as in the Loch Ness Monster?
As in the Loch Ness Monster, yes.
Awesome.
I have to see.
I get behind that.
I think it may... Yes, I do. I have it here. Give me just a second.
Marc is going to get what I assume is a Nessie plush.
Did he buy everything for this show? Like he was just like he has something for every part of it.
Yeah, it looks like this.
It's just awesome. Like, let me see if I have it in the back.
Yeah.
Let me see if I got one in stock.
Yeah.
Sure enough, I do. But yeah, that's the little Nessie that you can find in the game. But yeah, they would shoot out these multiple Nessie like giant things that you would shoot at your enemies, and they'd cause damage to you. And then also there are these like monster type things that you can find on a particular map, where if you shoot these enemies, they drop loot. Well, instead of that, they were giant Nessies that were coming out of their little nests.
So did the gun do more damage shooting these out? Like,
technically speaking, because you would fire it and then the Nessie would attack you. I don't know exactly what the damage was.
I got you.
So
it fires out live animals and then they attack your enemies.
Basically.
Yeah,
that's
basically.
Awesome.
I remember there was this one game that we were playing where this dude was like absolutely spamming them, and it was annoying the crap. It was like the final
whole
circle.
Army of them?
Yeah, it's just like constantly just Nessies, and we were like stuck in this one little spot right next to the edge of the circle where if you step out it'll hurt you. And yeah, he kept shooting Nessies, and it was the most annoying thing ever, but still funny. But yeah, I had a lot of fun playing that. And then switching things up, I finally completed Tunic. this past weekend.
Congrats.
Thank you, thank you. So ultimately, I think it's a nice Zelda homage. There's definitely a lot of influence of Zelda games and things like that. Um, I definitely there's absolutely no way I would have beaten this game without the no fail mode that they had, which is basically an invincibility mode. Because this is like I don't know if it's like full on Dark Souls, but like it's just ridiculously challenging. It's ridiculously difficult. And you would have to master everything and upgrade all your stuff and all that kind of stuff to be able to even close to progress in that game. And ain't nobody got time for that. So at least I don't. So I just turned that invincibility mode on and just tried to enjoy the game. Which the other thing which I've mentioned on the show before was so a lot of the text and dialogue and everything like that is in this made up language specifically for the game. And spoilers, they never translate it for you. They never tell you what
So
it
it's
means.
just like gibberish the entire way.
Yeah, it basically looks like Elven runes, like the language of the elves.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. I don't know why they do that.
Seems like an odd choice.
Yeah. Now, granted, somebody on Reddit was actually able to figure out the language and translate it, so the runes actually mean something.
Someone went through and just translated a fake language.
Yep.
There's always somebody.
Yep. There was a linguist that went through and found all the consistencies with the language and everything, and they were able to map it out, and it actually makes like sentences that make sense for the context of what you're reading and where it is in the game. Like it's an actual.
When did they do this? April 1st?
No, this was like maybe midweek last week. No, not quite April 1st, but yeah, they were able to figure it out and everything. But TLDR basically didn't have enough time to go in and actually try to translate all that stuff. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, that sounds ridiculous.
So it was really hard to pick up on the story.
Oh,
And so there is a story, and unfortunately I had to go and look it up after the fact. And then when I read it, I was like, okay, that makes sense. I wish you would have explained it. Oh, go ahead.
Is it difficult to pick up because it's in like Elven runes, like the language?
You
like,
can.
Is that why it's hard to pick the story up? Because you can't
basically
figure out what they're saying the whole time.
Yeah, basically you don't know what they're saying. You don't really know 100% of what's going on. You don't know why you're there, or what you're doing, why you're doing what you're doing.
sounds horrible.
Yeah.
What game is this?
There's a game called Tunic.
Okay.
But all that being said, I mean, it was a fun game to traverse, and it definitely has a lot of Zelda influence. And there's a lot of things where if you've played Zelda games, you get the idea. You can pick up on it pretty quick. And so, for the most part, I mean, I had fun with it. And the only other thing I'll say is there's a couple of levels that, like, man, they turned up the neon bright to like 11 because it was so bright in some of these levels that, like, especially there was a couple areas where if you moved close to these like globs of liquid, it would hurt you. And it would make the screen brighter when you got close to it. It was like almost like you were getting radiation sickness off of it. And man, it just got so bright.
Is that one of the places they give you like a warning?
No, unfortunately. No.
Really?
Yeah, no warning for brightness or strobe effects or anything like that. But in the face of all those things, I still had a fun time with it. I still was able to find some enjoyment, and there is a lot of cool there's a lot of cool like graphics and things like that and all that kind of stuff, and the gameplay is pretty fun. With the exception of, the fact that I couldn't get hurt. So that was nice. Because otherwise it would have been an absolute nightmare and I would have quit within the first 10 minutes.
There's not a lot of games that have that kind of no fail mode, invincibility mode.
Yep. And then
sounds like a perfect game to have it.
Yep. Yeah, it needed it. But yeah, so finished that and then started up with Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, where
Hmm.
if you're not familiar with what
Some
that
name?
is.
I'm
Um,
not familiar.
so it's a spin-off from Borderlands. Have you ever heard of Borderlands?
I have.
Yeah, it's a spin-off game where it's basically Borderlands but set in a Dungeons and Dragons type game. Like it's literally some of the characters from Borderlands playing
That's
a
cool.
D&D type game, and you are the character in the D&D game.
That's cool.
And every so often you'll hear like the characters who are playing the board game chime in, and like the person playing the dungeon master, who is Tiny Tina. And if you've ever if you ever played a Borderlands game, Tiny Tina is hilarious. She's like a demolition expert. She loves bombs and things like that. She sounds like this little kid and all this kind of stuff. And it's very much got that Borderlands type of humor. It's very much Borderlands looter shooter. You're constantly trying to upgrade your weapons, and pick up loot and things like that, and better your character. And it's an overall fun story. What I didn't know is that the lady who plays Tiny Tina, her name is Ashley Birch, and Ashley Birch is the voice of Aloy in Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West.
Yep.
Like, if you go and listen to Tiny Tina and then go listen to Aloy, completely different characters.
Oh, really? Nice.
Like, I would have had no idea that was Ashley Birch. But like Andy Samberg is a voice in it. Wanda Sykes is a voice in it.
Oh, wow.
Oh gosh, what is his name? I
They
just
got the
blanked on
goods.
it.
Gilbert Gottfried.
No, thank God. Um, no, Will Arnett. Will Arnett is in it. He's the villain.
He's
in it.
good. He's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it's fantastic so far. It's still pretty early days for me in the game, because I think I literally just started I think it was last night I just started. But I think I'm already at like level 4, level 5, something like that. But I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's very fun to be back in that world and enjoying it. So, and then freaking Lego Star Wars comes out tomorrow, and I want to play that.
Oh,
Yeah.
a lot of games.
Yep.
A lot of games.
A lot of games.
I like those Lego games. Those are fun.
Yeah, this is like to the nth degree. Like you can play literally every Star Wars movie on there. Everything from one through 9.
Now
Mega game.
big question here. Is Mandalorian?
That's planned
Can you
DLC.
Oh.
Yeah, that's planned DLC, as well as I think Solo and Rogue One. I want to say they're planning DLC.
Oh my goodness. Let's go.
Yeah, so literally everything.
Disney's just turning this into a cash cow.
Yeah, there's like 300 characters
Yeah.
in it or something like that. Some crazy number of characters. They've upped the ante on their
300 characters,
gameplay.
That's sweet.
Yeah, like it's like every variation of the different characters you could possibly think of in different costumes and things like that.
Maybe we can
And-
co-op and play as the Cantina band.
I think they're actually playable characters in the game.
That's
That's
fantastic.
But looking forward to that. But yeah, that's pretty much my week.
All right.
So
What's up
Patrick,
with you?
Oh, me next.
you next.
This only one thing of note this past week is I went indoor rock climbing. And I've never done that before. One of my coworkers was like, "Hey, you want to go indoor rock climbing?" I'm like, "Who wants to do that? Like I'll just walk up a wall and climb up a wall. What's at the top? Nothing. Like I don't get the allure
I
of
did it.
climbing." So, but I was like, okay, I'll go. And so I get there and I walk in, and this is like, a 75-foot.
It's a monstrosity.
It's huge. And it's
Yeah.
like daunting. And I'm like, how do I do this? And so I had to go through like some sort of like, 10-minute training where this woman walks me around the entire complex, tell me about different things and things like that. And then I'm all trained. There's only one thing I couldn't do is I can't belay, which is like, you can't like hold a rope
You're the rope
and
guy.
help someone get up. Like if they were like one of the rock climbing things is you can, if you have like a clip, you clip your rope up into the next clip and things like that. And then there's a person at the bottom on the ground where they hold the rope. And if you fall, they hold the rope so you don't fall to the ground. That's the only thing I couldn't do. I could climb any other wall. I could, as long as, and I could climb those types of walls with the clips, as long as someone who's certified in belaying. But I was like, that's too much for me in my first try. I don't trust someone else, even though you're certified. I don't really care. So
You're not trying to be Sylvester Stallone and Cliffhanger.
there's absolutely no way. So I'm like, I don't know where to start. And there's a little area. It was like kids section. I was like, that's where I'm going first. So I walk over there, and it was like an auto belay. So you hook it up to your harness, and then if you fall off the wall, it'll catch you, so you won't fall to the ground. So I climb all the way up, first time, and it was like there's all these colors that are on the wall, and one of the things about with those colors is you try to use the same color, and it's like its own challenge. But me, I'm like, I don't care. It's my first try. I'm just gonna use every color that's available to me, and to get to the top. I don't care. So I got to the top, and then as soon as I get to the top, there's a guy right next to me. I was like, so how do we get down? Like, what? I don't like. Do I just jump off the wall? Like,
push off.
I don't. And it was like, I was like, I've jumped out of a plane before, and feels just like this, where I'm like, I think I'm gonna fall to my death right now. And so he's like, yeah, just jump off, it'll catch you. I'm like, okay. So I kind of like go down a little bit, like kind of like pull away from the wall, and I feel like no resistance from this rope.
Absolutely
like,
not.
I don't trust this. I don't trust this. So so I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is it. I called Mel, I called my parents, and I was like, hey, this might be it. No, I didn't do that.
I was gonna say,
I felt like I wanted to do that. So I jump off, and for like a split second, the rope does not feel like it's gonna hold me back, and there's no resistance. And then after like 2 feet, it catches me, and then I slowly come down from the ceiling. And I was like, man, that was a rush. So I get down, I climb up another wall. I didn't quite get to the top because it was a little bit harder. I stepped away from the kids section. And then I get down after that second climb, and my forearms were just like on fire. Like it felt like I had just worked out, like a full workout. And I've only been climbing for 10 minutes, like it was amazing workout. So yeah, it was the first time I did that. I went over to this other section what they call bouldering, which is like no harness, no rope. You just climb on different things. It's a little bit shorter of a wall. It's like maybe like 8 to 10 feet wall. And then there's like a mat at the bottom, like a really thick mat. So if you fall, you're not going to hurt yourself. So I did that. That was fun too. But overall, after like I was poo-pooing this thing, I was like, what? All you're doing is climbing a wall. Like this doesn't sound interesting. But after doing it, I'm like, man, this was solid. Like I was thinking, like who would I bring next time I come here? Because I kind of want to go next time. Because I was with a whole bunch of different people that I've never hung out with before outside of work. So that was always cool to hang out with people from work. But bringing some friends, bringing spouses and significant others and things like that, I think it'd be a fun time to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I have actually been a couple times myself.
Yeah.
And I actually went into it the same way. I thought it was going to be stupid. I just thought like, I'm not going to enjoy this at all. Like, I don't really want to go rock climbing in real life. So,
right.
But no, it was actually really fun. Like
it
was really fun. And I felt the same way pushing off the first time because you're however many feet up in the air and you basically just have to trust and like just push off the wall, which is terrifying at first. Once it catches you though, like the first time or the second time, then you're like, all right, I'll jump off 100 foot. Like, I don't care.
Right. Yeah.
Like, then you're fine. Yeah.
And when I put on like, there's a clip you put on your harness. That's another thought that went through my mind. I was like, did I clip it right? Like, oh my gosh, what happens if I didn't clip it right? I'm going to die.
You break bones.
Unfortunate things.
Totally dead. Yeah. So that was pretty much it on the life front. My son got sick Friday night, and so
Okay.
wrecked our entire weekend. Like on Saturday, we were supposed to go to my nephew's soccer game. We were supposed to go to my niece's birthday party. We were going to do some other things on Sunday, and it was like all this. Clark's soccer game was Sunday, that we couldn't do that anymore. So our whole weekend was shot, which was fine by me because I can always find something to do. And boy, did I.
Mm.
So when I was out with my work buddies, and they were talking about this F1 Survive the Drive show on Netflix, and I
Interesting.
have never watched F1 before, and so they were telling me about like, hey, there's 4 seasons. It's really interesting. You should watch it. So I watched the trailer, at while I was out, and I was like, this actually looks pretty good. And when you're like, yeah, I'll add it to the list. I added it to my list.
It doesn't really
People are
mean
listening.
anything when people say
It
that.
right. It doesn't. Yeah. Right. Exactly. So, but when our whole weekend was shot, I was like, you know what? This is a perfect time for me to try this. So I turned on the first episode, and it goes through. The first season is in 2018, and it goes through the entire F1 season from beginning to end. They go through like all the drivers that are driving F1. And I don't know how much you know about F1, but there's only 20 drivers in F1, which is like the major leagues of Formula One racing. Um, and so there's only 20 racers, and there's 10 teams, 2 racers per team. And I found out like teammates are not teammates, like they're only in it from themselves. Like I don't understand that. I don't
You
understand a
ain't
lot of
first,
the
you're last.
I don't understand all the rules. They don't. It's not a good introductory 101 class for F1. It's really it assumes you know anything about F1, which I didn't. But it was still interesting. Because this is like, it's like a documentary of an entire season of racing. So I watched the first episode. I was like, you know what? All right. And my wife walks in. She's like, "What are you watching?" And I was like, "I have no idea what's
I don't know
happening
what
right
I'm doing.
now."
Just
But
something.
yeah, I don't like. She's like, I don't watch racing. It's like it's either
I would have
wrestling or
never
football
guessed
or
that in a
baseball.
thousand years.
So I watched it. And I was like, wow, this is interesting. Now I have to find out how the season ends. Who wins and what happens.
That's when you're hooked.
What's really cool about the show is they didn't follow the best team. They didn't follow the worst team. They followed the teams that are in the middle of the pack, the teams that do not have the budget as the the number one, number two teams. They followed very interesting storylines as far as like trying to get to the next spot or the next standings, or drivers that were going to be switching teams. So it was really cool to have that, because if I was just watching someone win all the time, there was no really story. I don't feel like there was be a good storyline there. So it was really cool to see that storyline. So I ended up watching the entire first season over the weekend.
Dang.
There's
Okay.
it's only it, there's 10 episodes, and they were each 30 minutes. So it wasn't like it was a huge time commitment.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely gonna move on to season 2. There's some racers that were in season 1 that didn't, like, quote unquote secure a seat, meaning they're not going to be a driver for a team next year, which I was bummed about, because there's one guy that I really liked, and so I wonder if he's ever going to come back, or going to go back for a different team. I know, I was talking to Tim Pollen about this. He's like, that's the only reason why I have Netflix is for this F1 sort of Drive to Survive, or whatever it's called. But yeah, so I did that, and then I was like, you know what? I wonder if there's a video game about F1. And lo and behold, over the past couple of weeks, F1 2021 dropped on Game Pass.
Oh, look at that. Didn't even have to pay for it.
I was like, wonderful. So I downloaded that, and I played that over the weekend. and I finished like the career mode, or like the whatever that story mode is.
Yeah.
It goes through fictitious uh drivers, but it was really good, and I don't think I would have enjoyed the F1 story if I didn't watch the F1 show on Netflix. I knew a little bit more about why they're driving this way. What was one of the cool things about the story mode is you didn't race all the races. They would put you in a race like, hey, based on this storyline, make sure you get to ninth place before the 11th lap, or you're put in your car is messed up and you need to drive it into the pit, get new tires, get new front wing, and then drive and try to get in the top 10. And so it was very cool storylines. You start as a rookie driver, and your teammate is an old driver that's about to retire. And so there's a huge, very big dynamic there. And just seeing the arc of those two, you drive as the rookie and as the veteran, as over the course of the season, or I think it was 2 seasons they go through. Really, really awesome. So I recommend just giving F1 a shot in the first episode. I really feel that if you watch the first episode, it's gonna hook you because there's some good storylines. It is not. There's a lot of words, a lot of profanity in the Netflix.
Gotcha.
That's all there is, because it's like they're race car drivers and they're very egocentric and egotistical. So they have a lot of colorful words. The game was like an EA Sports E for Everyone game. So, like you could tell that it was written a little differently. But yeah, it was like totally F1 out of nowhere over the weekend craziness.
Goodness.
That is a bizarre turn of events.
I know, right? Yeah.
F1 update from Patrick.
That was not on my Patrick Novosel bingo card.
Yeah, I did not know that was in your utility belt.
I don't know. I went rock climbing and I watched F1 and I played an F1 game. What is happening?
That's a weird one.
All right, let's go. Let's go back to the old normal WrestleMania. What was this past weekend?
WrestleMania,
the most stupendous WrestleMania 2-night event in WWE history.
It's a 2-night event.
It didn't used to be.
2-night event.
I didn't know that.
It's been 2 nights since 2020, maybe. So I guess they just do a lot more and make it a lot longer. So there's a couple things of note. Stone Cold came back, and
I saw the clip.
There's a wrestler that has a stunner as his finishing move. He's one of his favorite wrestlers growing up as Stone Cold, so it's kind of natural that he became like a kind of like a lesser clone of Stone Cold, as it were. But he called out Stone Cold Steve Austin, who hasn't wrestled in 19 years. And so Stone Cold, he answered the call. He came and he wrestled and threw some Stone Cold stunners, and it was fantastic. I felt like I was in high school again. It was awesome. And so that was on night 1. That's how night 1 ended. How night 2, there is this wrestler his name is Austin Theory. And Austin Theory is like the prodigal son of Vince McMahon. Like, it's his poster child. He's trying to groom him into being one of the corporate wrestlers under Vince McMahon. He's his puppet. And so his puppet, picked a fight with one of the announcers, it's Pat McAfee, who is a former kicker Hunter. In the NFL. Yeah. He is one of the best commentators in all of anything.
He has his own podcast as well.
He is fantastic.
Yeah.
So when he retired from the NFL, he in 2017 he started training to be a wrestler. So when he was wrestling
interesting
last
life
night,
he must lead.
He looked like he was a wrestler. He was doing flips and things and moves that a normal wrestler would make. and he looked good doing it. But Vince McMahon was on the sidelines, and after Pat McAfee won, Vince McMahon was walking, was going to walk back up the ramp, and Pat McAfee called him out, like, "Hey, I want you now." So Vince McMahon takes off his shirt, and he's about to wrestle, and he beats Pat McAfee, and then he starts beating him up more, and all of a sudden you hear Stone Cold Steve Austin's Breaking the Glass music start, and Stone Cold comes down the ramp and gives Vince McMahon a Stone Cold Stunner. And I was like, man, this is 2000 again. This is
classic.
Back in high school.
Are we in the
What
Attitude Era?
am I watching? What am
Yeah.
I watching? This is so surreal. Yeah, it was a really, really fun WrestleMania. I love WrestleMania. It's awesome that it like brought back some old wrestlers. And Triple H, he started the show, and Stone Cold ended the show, which was
Didn't
really,
he just
really cool.
isn't he like retiring, or did he just retire, Triple H?
Triple H just retired from wrestling, from in-ring wrestling, which I didn't know I thought he already retired, because
I
it's been
haven't
a
heard anything
while.
about him in a while.
But I think he has surgery, and he's like, you know what, it's time to, after the surgery, he's like, I'm not going to wrestle anymore.
Yeah, he's more in a suit than anything else, right?
Yeah, he was if he's not running it now, but he used to run the NXT brand, which is like the minor leagues of the WWE. He used to run that. I don't know if he runs it anymore.
We should do a wrestling trivia one night.
Yeah.
Wait for Lucas to get back.
I
mean, all of us probably watched it when we were kids, so
yeah,
like it a little bit.
I remember. Yeah, we did a trivia of like what their real name is in wrestling. But that was back on our only wrestling episode. I'm down for another wrestling episode. But yeah, I think that's about it for me.
Sweet deal.
All right.
Ronnie.
Well, I cannot top that. That was out of nowhere. We should have let you
Extravaganza of a weekend.
Tough act to follow here. So this week, well, I guess it's been 2 weeks for me. So last Monday was Elizabeth's birthday. So we pretty much trying to think if we went out on Monday. Yeah, we did. We went out to brunch, and then she wanted to go plant shopping. So I just just the cart guy, following around, like, just, what do you want? How much? Like, whatever. Just put it in. Let's
You're the yes
go.
man.
Yeah. Whatever you want today. So we did that. She picked out some stuff that she really liked, and we went out on Sunday night actually for her birthday with my mom and stepdad. We went to Cooper's Hawk.
Nice.
Wined it up a little bit, and yeah, they just have awesome food there. So that was actually the place we went on our second date. So
Nice.
no, Cooper's Hawk was the first date. Sorry, second date was a place called Tony's, which is a pretty classy joint.
Sounds classy. Sounds like you need to wear like a gold chain.
I'm talking like 2 people dinner was $250.
Ooh.
Classy.
Whoa.
That's what kind of classy I'm talking about.
What did they serve you?
Gold.
Honestly, I don't even remember what I got. I don't. I was on my best behavior. I was trying to like not focus on that, and focus on being a decent human being. And I was like, man, she is perfect. I need to be on my best behavior for this. So, in my head, I don't even know what was happening. But anyways, so we had a pretty good birthday weekend for her. This past Thursday, I received my new Xbox in the mail.
Yeah.
Whoa. A new Xbox One series?
A new
30?
Xbox Series X.
Question mark?
The
Yes.
X. Let's go.
Yeah. I made a mistake previously buying one with no memory and just getting like the lower end model. This is actually like I bought it right before we started playing PUBG all the way back then.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I just bought the cheapest one. I was like, I don't really care. But I could only keep like 3 games on it at a time. So it got rough. It got really rough.
Yeah.
So bought the nice one. I just got it actually hooked up on. I just got a text from Elizabeth. She said, I got the New York Strip apparently on her date. You can hear me in the other room. Where was I? Oh, so I got the new Xbox. Really, there's only been one game that I've like had my eye on, and it's Elden Ring. And I've been playing Elden Ring.
Nice. Just
So
jumping straight in the deep end.
yeah, yeah. The fact that people said it was really hard and everybody was quitting only made me want to play it more.
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
if you can beat Enter the Gungeon, you can beat any game. Like I think I'm pretty good at play at games, and
Enter the Gungeon was pretty tough.
I can't hold a candle to Enter the Gungeon.
Enter the Gungeon was pretty tough. This game's harder, honestly. Like just straight up.
No wonder I quit
it's
it.
impossible as that sounds like. So I've been playing co-op basically the whole time with Eric.
Oh, okay,
Now,
nice.
Eric is one of those. Eric's like beat the game more than once. He has like 200 hours into it already.
Yep,
Of course
like,
he does.
So yeah, exactly. So when I started playing, at first I was getting killed by like just random guys at the beginning. I'm like, man, this is ridiculous. Like, how much do I have to? What I got to start like, farming experience like at the very beginning of the game? Like, there's no way that's the case.
I bet Eric was just like, you know what? I've beaten this game twice.
I don't think Eric even needs to look at his map. We literally
he has it on Xbox and PlayStation.
I know.
He platinumed it on PlayStation.
Yeah. So we've been playing co-op, and it actually like nerfs his character down to my character's level, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
Because I'm usually like, of course he wants to bring in like his powerful character and do all the cool stuff, which there's time and a place all for that. And I usually fight back at first, and then he just wears me down, and I just let him do whatever he wants. But so I've been playing with him, and I gotta tell you, like, it's funny. It's funny because you guys know him, but we're traveling through this game, and this game has a massive map. This is a giant game. Like, there's like, when you look off into the distance in this game, and there's all these like castles and stuff on the horizon, like those are all actual places that you can actually just run to. That's like, it's not just scenery in this game, like everything you can go to.
Yeah.
So, and it's a beautiful game, honestly. Like, it's awesome. But it is a Souls game. It is a Souls game, which is the worst. Which is the worst. I have lost all my money basically every single time I've played. There's just no way to keep it, and I die every time, at least a few times. There was one boss, and I think he's maybe like the second boss that you run into, or the third boss. I can't remember, but it took Eric and I, honestly, over 20 tries to beat this guy. 20 tries and the 3:30 a.m. stop time that night. Like,
goodness gracious.
it was rough. Like, I was ready to quit like 45 minutes before that. But he's like, no, I think we can do this. So it is a really cool game. I don't know that it's a game that I would like play on my own though. You know what I mean? I'm playing co-op, and I think that just makes it more fun when there's a couple of us. Eric actually, he's a jerk also, for people who don't know him. So he'll lead me into like a place or whatever, like that he knows I'm going to get absolutely killed. Like, he'll be like, oh, we just need to go around this corner. And then he just will sprint the other way. And this like huge thing will just come out and grab me in his like crab claw or something, and he just laughs. Right. So that happens all the time. And I never know whether he's telling the truth or not. I just have to follow him. And, I will tell him, I'll be like, hey, I've a little bit of money here. So let's not kill me or put me next to something that I'm not going to like, be able to get it back from. Because basically after you die, you can go back and pick up your runes, or basically your bag with your money. And if you die before you get to it, it's gone forever. So you get one chance to like pick it up. And then if you die again, as long as you picked it up, you can keep like carrying it basically through your dead bodies. But there's no way to store any coins, which is the most frustrating thing ever. Because honestly, like, the main thing that I use coins for in this game is to level up. You basically buy attribute points, and you're able to add them. And it's a classic system that tiers up, and it gets to be a ridiculous cost later down the road. But it's a game that I don't, I'll play with Eric probably, but on my own, I might just do like some grinding to get like some levels or something like that.
Yeah.
But to face bosses, Um, before we go into every boss, he's like, okay, now here's what this guy's gonna do. He's just got it all mapped out in his head. He's like, we need to run right immediately, and he just knows all these things. Like I can't tell you how many times we've run across the map, and he's like taking this back way where you jump down this cliff. There's like platforms, there's a secret passage that he just knows about.
Of course.
But yeah, it is. I mean, it is really pretty fun though.
Yeah.
It's a pretty fun game, especially to play it co-op. I think with like a team, like it would be a lot of fun. It'd be cool. But so yeah, I've been pretty much just stuck in that, for a little while, and I'm sure that that's going to be a game that I play for a while longer. I hope to beat it, but if I do, I do. If I don't, I'm not. I'm not one of those people where it's like I'm worried about completing things. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I understand why everybody is frustrated. 'Cause I saw a lot of the memes and the gifs and stuff about it, all the TikTok videos about like people getting killed.
It's horrible.
It is. I mean, there are some like even right away in the game, you basically can run out there, like pretty much right after I completed like the first part of the game. It kind of like lets you out into the map, and there's this big, huge guy on horseback, and my thought process was, I'm gonna kill him. I'm going after him, and he dominated me. And it wasn't.
He's
it
gonna
wasn't
kill
even
you.
close. But, like I got like a quarter of his health down, and I was like, why would they put that right at the beginning of the game? Why would they put this guy that's definitely gonna kill everybody? So yeah, it's definitely. I mean, there's a lot. There's so much going on in the game, like leveling up your character, all your items, and it's like a really advanced version of Diablo.
I was watching this clip, and I think Aaron, you done messed up Ron on our Discord. He sent it to me, of this guy. He's like on top of some sort of like a pillar or something, like a castle. I can't remember what it was. And he's shooting down. He sees this enemy, and he's like, I'm going to shoot at him. And so he goes to shoot at him, hits him. The enemy suddenly just disappears. He swings his camera around, and the dude is right behind him and just takes him out. And I was like, nope.
Some of these, like, some of the bosses in this game. So at first, like when you're walking around in this game, you can obviously look around, and sometimes you just come across an absolutely gigantic creature. You're like, no way that there's even a chance I could fight this thing. It's the same size as the mountain next to it. Like there's one dragon that's like, he's just massive. But yeah, it's definitely a bizarre game. There's a place in the swamp in the game, which is the worst possible place ever. Which that's the same way in every game. If there's a swamp, it's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
Because swamps in real life are nightmares. But Eric was running in front of me, maybe like, I don't know, 10, 15 yards or something in the game. And we're running through this like shallow water, and this gigantic like crawfish. This thing is like 10 to 15 times the size of us. It's massive. It's like a bus came out of the ground. Just right in the middle of us and kill us. Like you can't get away from it. So it's just like luck of the draw. Like if you're gonna die or not, it's outrageous.
Dang.
Gross.
So I'm gonna keep that up for a little bit, but ultimately it's kind of a time killer till I find something else. I will say though, as far as the new Xbox goes, the setup was the easiest possible thing. And I like the controller actually. They did a little bit of upgrading, some slight adjusting. I feel like it's a little bit smaller. It just fits into your hand better altogether. So yeah, it was good, a good purchase.
Nice.
I may get a PlayStation depending on when they're available, like where I'm at. But I'm not going to actively search for one because now that I have Elden Ring on the PlayStation or on the Xbox, I don't have an actual reason to buy a PlayStation currently. So,
Gotcha.
other than like I could play games with you guys, certain games or whatever, but
Sure.
for the most part, we can play it on Xbox too, whatever it is. So,
Yeah. Yes. Sir.
but that's pretty much it for me. It's the last thing I'll say about Elden Ring is it's a game that literally just like it doesn't give you a lot of direction. Like you just have a million questions, like as soon as you start the game, which is also our topic.
I'm so proud of you, Ronnie.
That was wonderful. That was great, man.
I'm sure Lucas, who's probably going to listen to this episode, is
He will be
probably
so proud.
he is shedding a tear right now.
He's over there just slow clapping.
Oh goodness, yes. So that, of course, folks, is our topic. We put it out to you, the joiners, to ask us any questions. This is kind of almost like a Reddit AMA of sorts.
Yes.
If you don't know, AMA is Ask Me Anything. And so, yeah, we put it out to you guys, and you did not disappoint. So, first question is from, of course, Mr. Bernabe El Ronchas Butters.
Roll those R's.
Have you ever felt so out of place, but you still had to roll with it and make an effort for the best? I spent most of the past week on campus at Gonzaga in Spokane, Washington. I've heard of Gonzaga. First impression, college students are allegedly 20-somethings with baby faces. Yeah, they get...
Yeah, I can't understand ages anymore.
Yep.
I never know how old anybody is either.
This is anyway.
Like, they're either
luckily,
12 or 26.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like that person can drive. No way, they're 11.
I don't believe you. Yeah. He says anyway. Luckily, my class was a mixture of kids and old farts like me. It was a lot of fun. So, have you ever felt so out of place, but you still had to roll with it and make an effort for the best?
Yeah, most recently it was the rock climbing. Like I didn't know what to do. I was like, where am I? How am I supposed to do this?
Yeah.
Like I get this like 10-minute introduction, and then everyone's off doing their own thing. I'm like, I guess I'll just watch other people to figure out how to do these things. And then I get to the top. I'm like, I was already out of place. Like do I die here or do I just stay up here for the rest of my life? Like I don't know. I don't know what to do here.
Yeah, I would say that I'm currently living in that state, living in an apartment. Everything is like just bizarre. Like I've been talking to people in the parking lot and everything, which is totally not something I've done. But yeah, it's just,
is that the hangout spot, the parking lot?
You know what? There's just always somebody getting in or out of their car, so you're kind of forced like to be nice.
Yeah,
like that's kind of how I put it. Like I'm just being nice out there. But yeah, like sometimes people will just stop and like chat it up with you, and it always takes me by surprise. I'm like, what? Like we had Chipotle delivered one time a couple weeks ago, and the person couldn't find the right apartment, so I was like, just go to building 6. I'll just walk out, and so I walked out and I grabbed it, and the guy was like sitting in his car, and he's like, hey. So I don't respond to hey immediately. That's not how it works. And then there was an even louder hey. So I'm like, what the heck? Like I turned around and he's like, what is that? And I'm like, this bag in my hand? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, it's Chipotle. And he's like, that sounds good. And I'm like, it's probably going to be good. It's probably going to be good. And I just kept walking. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to.
It's a quality conversation right there.
Yeah. That's a weird thing to ask. Like, what's in the bag? Like, what are you going to rob me?
Be like, do you want a bite? Like, what
like
is this?
Drugs.
Yeah.
Lots of drugs.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just a different scenario. And, like Patrick with the rock climbing, I mean, you just kind of have fun with it and make the best.
I don't miss living in an apartment building. I really don't. We live in a duplex, so we have a neighbor right next to us, and then of course neighbors across the way and stuff. But we don't really. I mean, we say hi and have niceties and stuff, but we don't like hang out and stuff or anything like that, or talk about what's in our food bags.
That's strange.
It was a weird one.
But yeah, I don't miss that. Don't miss that
now,
at all.
I have a question for you, Ronnie. Do you have like are you on the 3rd floor?
I'm on the 2nd floor, but I'm on the end of the building that we're in. So there's actually not a 3rd floor on each end.
Okay. That's right. Do you have like neighbors that like knock on your door like, hey, welcome to the apartment, here's some cookies? Did you have any of that?
No, I don't think people in apartments do that.
I don't know.
Everybody just stares at you like while you're moving in. Like, what's this guy got?
I would love.
I'm
to
not
live
gonna
in
help. I'm
apartment
just gonna stare at you.
Yeah, watch all these old guys struggle. It's just a spectacle. No, it's honestly everybody's been really friendly. Other than like the awkward, food conversation I had with that guy. Generally, like people seem really friendly and just like want to say hi and be nice. So
That's good.
yeah,
That's definitely good. Good,
it
good,
is.
good. So, Pat, I think you can attest to this, having done this recently. But there's never a weirder situation than when you are in a place where no one speaks the language that you do. And so for me, that was going to Canada. Um,
Oh, okay.
and
Canada, eh?
and specifically the French
As
speaking part
is
of Canada.
tradition.
As is tradition, what a glorious day for Canada and therefore the world.
Were they throwing out Captain Crunch everywhere?
No, they were not. But no, we went to the French-speaking part of Canada where they were not speaking English. And so, and plus, we're in a different country anyway, so like, the conversion of money is not the same, and you just feel like kind of a fish out of water. And
Yeah, nothing's easy.
yep, nothing is easy whatsoever. And this was at a point where I didn't really understand much French. So
Oh,
that made things a lot more difficult for me. Thankfully, there
Sure.
weren't like a whole lot of places that were just French. They had some English too, but you just still feel just completely fish out of water. The other place I went to was New York City. Definitely feel like a fish out of water there because there's like just
Just too crazy there.
wall to wall people everywhere,
Yeah, so crazy there.
and it's just
I think
people. Oh, go ahead.
I think it would be difficult to live in the tunic world where people speak a language that doesn't exist.
That's fair. That's fair.
That would be.
Yeah, and they never give you any way of trying to interpret that language. Thanks,
Just gotta
Tunic.
get that person who interpreted a fake language.
Yep. Just gonna.
I
Have
think
to,
isn't that like a profession? Like, isn't that a profession for people to create languages? Like, I know there was like someone who created the whole Lord of the Rings Elvish language.
Yeah.
Which is wild, by the way. Just, you know what? I'm just gonna make my own language. How crazy is that?
I'm sure there are linguists that's their whole. They know how the ins and outs of the structure of a language works, and so they're able to kind of start from that template and go from there.
So,
I think there's another
so
language
wild.
in there's so that happens a lot in games. I feel like what is it? World of Warcraft has their own language.
Yeah.
And I think they mentioned this in The Office in an episode or whatever. And she's like, "You didn't tell me you were teaching me a made up language." And he's like, "Well, that's what people thought about like Klingon, but now they teach a class in it or something." Like I don't remember what he said.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like a whole complete language. Like can you imagine trying to come up with a whole language by yourself like that? Seems like an impossible task.
They're much smarter people than I.
I guess
Yeah.
that is true.
True.
All right. So next question from the Crispy Crusader, aka Mr. Tim Pollen, in the Discord.
Crispy Crusader. What is
like it.
that?
Bacon.
Is that like the bacon Batman?
Yeah,
Mm,
Love it.
Okay,
Sweet.
I like it.
love it. Justice and grease and vengeance. So he
Gabe's
says
just a piece of bacon.
it's not a batarang; it's just a piece of bacon. He just throws it. You have the house to yourself for one night. No wife, no kids. What's for dinner, and what are you playing/watching? Me?
Oh.
I'm having a ribeye and hash browns with cheese and onions while watching Smokey and the Bandit in the living room with the surround sound cranked to 11.
Oh man, that's tough. So what was if it was this coming weekend? I would have a gyro with tzatziki sauce and onions, no tomato or lettuce. I don't want to get in the way of the gyro taste. And then I'm playing WWE. I mean, that's just I could
Such a weird show we have.
I could throw down 8 straight hours of that game, and it felt like a blink of an eye. I mean, I've already put 80 hours into that game, which, by the way, is now the most played PS5 game I've played so far.
Nice. No
Hmm.
numero uno.
Already.
Nice, 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 nice.
So for
Um,
me, if I had to do this weekend, kind of in that scenario, because it is basically whatever game you're playing at the
yeah,
time. I would game would be my first choice. Um, Currently, I would play Elden Ring. For food, if it was just me, I'd want to get some garbage food though, like a Wendy's or maybe like I don't know. Do you guys have a Tender Town where you guys are?
no.
No, there's this
No, what is
awesome
that?
like tender. It's called Tender Town, and they it's exactly what it sounds like. They have chicken tenders and French fries, and they're just really good. So it's
Hmm.
like 1 minute down the street from where our apartment is. So
Nice. Um,
How close is it to Raising Cane's? Have you ever had that before?
you know what? I've never had Raising Cane's, but I think it's a similar type restaurant.
Okay. All
gotcha.
right.
Okay. So this question is sort of complex for me, and because thinking about what I eat now, that would not be the ideal for what I would want. So, say I didn't have any health problems and I was on the old diet. uh,
Okay.
for me, it would more than likely be a a Pizza Hut pizza, meat
Oh.
lovers
Old
pizza.
school
Yeah, meat lovers pizza. Man,
stuffed
that makes.
crust
No, not really. I mean, I don't mind eating stuffed crust, but that's not really something I gravitate
really
towards.
slows you down on your pizza if you get the stuffed crust.
Yeah, yeah. Considering all the stuff that's on that pizza, like I don't think I could add more cheese on top of that.
True.
um, but yeah, I have an absolute craving for that, and I can't have it. So, but anyway,
Hmm.
but if there was the ideal, yes, I would be having that, and either playing Apex or probably, yeah, probably still playing through Wonderlands, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands.
All right.
Absolutely. And then watching Batman movies all weekend.
Oh yeah, you gotta have the double screen going on.
Yep. Absolutely, Lily.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next question comes from, I'm stalling for time. Delvin Cox, our buddy Delvin Cox, who just had a birthday the other day.
Happy late birthday.
Yes, sir. He
Uh-huh.
says, I have a question for all of you. Now that you've been doing the show for a while, how do you feel about it? How do you feel, or do you have the same enthusiasm to do the show each week as you did when you started? Also, what motivates you to keep going? It's a deep question.
That is.
Yeah, that's a lot of questions. What was the first question in there?
So he
Let's
says,
let's separate it out. What's the first question
so
again?
the first one is, uh, after doing this show for a while now, how do you feel about the show? How do you feel about it?
Oh, it's a garbage truck on fire. I mean, we already. I mean, it's I come in. I used to be prepared, and what I love about it is we we can just chat and not and just quote unquote wing it. Talk about what we've done the past week and things like that. I love catching up with you guys, and it's more of like a catch up rather than like, hey, let's talk about every single thing that we did this past week. I like just hitting the things of note, the highlights of our past week, and especially things like I would have never known that Ronnie was playing Elden Ring if we didn't have the show.
Yeah.
It's just very interesting, and I didn't know that Tunic had its own language and a linguist that interpreted everything. Like it's
I didn't even know there was a
really
tunic.
that's really cool. So that's really what I look forward to every week.
Sweet.
Yeah, I would. I guess I feel the same way. It feels more now like since we've been doing it for a long time that um it's more of just a hangout. I mean, it's really like we just kind of get on here and hang out, and we talk about stuff, but it just feels more like a hangout than like something it's like on the schedule or something like that. I used to take notes too. And honestly, most of the time we never used them. Like we got
Right.
off the track and then it was just, onward. I can't imagine how many notepads like Lucas has filled up though.
Well, that's the thing. That's what he loves to do. He likes
He
to make
does.
lists. Yep.
Love you, Lucas. Yeah, for me, like, this whole podcast has been a giant trial and error experiment for us. We
Yeah.
did things one way a long time ago, and then we changed things up, and then we got a mojo going, and got our stride going. And even then, we still have goofs, and we still have errors. Like, for example, Patrick, when you were literally just talking about how we were a garbage fire, hot garbage fire,
Yeah.
and then your internet started cutting out on your audio.
See? Yeah. Exactly.
So sorry about that, guys. Um, but yeah, it's all still trial and error. And I mean, we've by no means made the big time or anything. We're still very much small podcast, and it's very much the community that makes this happen, and it's very much us four guys. It, like Ronnie said, it's very much a hangout. And it's the idea of just trying new things and going into new territory. Like, we've tried different segments and things like that, and just changing things up. We're looking to do that within the next several episodes, teasing for 200 coming up. But yeah, we're looking at trying new things, and that's what freshens things up a little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, just having a faithful community that enjoys what we do and likes hanging out with us and being good friends with us, and having our own little slice of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that answers your question, Dylan.
You guys still think it's weird that people listen to us?
every week.
Yeah.
Isn't that bizarre?
I am surprised that more than one person listens to us.
Yeah, honestly, it surprises me too.
Yeah, I was looking at our stats, and we are consistently growing 30% every year, which is
That's
insane.
crazy.
Fantastic.
We are already on pace to have our best year ever. It's fantastic to see.
Well,
That
that's
is
thanks
awesome.
to you guys, the joiners out there. We very much
Mhm.
appreciate you.
Yeah.
We may not understand you, but we appreciate you.
And it's okay, because you may not understand us either. So
Yeah.
I doubt you do.
My mom was like, you guys talk too fast. And I pulled up her podcast app. I'm like, she's listened to us at 2 times speed. I'm like, Mom, that's why you got to go back. You got to do 1 time speed. That's why you can't understand us.
We should have a show that's just
I love you,
parents and technology.
Yeah.
I think we could have a whole show on that, honestly.
I'm their IT guy.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, the IT guy. I used to be the DVD guy. They call me. I'm like, Mom, I lived there in 5 years.
Oh man, what was the second part of his question?
So the second part of his question is, do you have the same enthusiasm to do the show each week as you did when you started?
Oh, even more
Question.
enthusiasm. I think with our topics that we come up with each week, it keeps it fresh, like you said, Mark. Even though it's just like it's not a new segment, it's just like a new topic, and we unpack it. I think that's really, really cool to see. Also, like you said, the joiners. We see our listener count continue to go up, and people that follow us on Twitter, join us on Discord, whatever it is, and to see that continue to grow, and people find us from one way or another, it's really cool, and it really keeps it fresh, keeps it exciting every week.
Yeah, I my answer is a little bit different. So, as far as the enthusiasm goes, I'm actually week to week. I don't feel the same enthusiasm week after week. It just depends on the week.
Yeah.
Myself, I'm a creature that makes decisions based on my emotions at the time, which is usually not a good idea, but it's just the way that I operate. So, depending on how the day went, depending on how the weekend went, or what I have coming up, it just depends. Some nights, depending on what we're doing, like It's like, man, it's gonna be good to get the podcast in here, And other nights you're like, oh man, like this is gonna be rough. Like this is gonna be rough. Like I'm not feeling it tonight.
Yeah.
So there definitely are those nights, where I'm not feeling it or something like that, and I think that's gonna happen pretty much no matter what with anybody.
Yeah, everybody has their good weeks and bad, but we still try to, bring what we can to each episode and
Bring the noise.
I don't know about a game. I suppose it's a game.
It could be our A game.
Yeah. But I mean, even despite what we've had, it's always great to just kind of meet up and hang out and talk about what we've been doing and come up with serious and ridiculous topics, most of them being ridiculous, but it's a lot of fun to be able to jump on and yeah, we may have good and bad episodes, but that's everybody. But overall, it's still fun to be doing this show and to be putting something out there. And I mean, guys, we're almost coming on 200 episodes.
It's wild.
It's crazy.
I feel like just yesterday we did 100.
So I think about where I started with this, and I started in a completely empty room in my house with a fold-up table, like with like a card table and a laptop.
You had a table? I didn't have a table episode one.
I was one of those like ones you bring out for like a picnic. You can put all the food on. The legs,
yeah.
It's like fold out. Yeah,
right.
And then I had a like one of those iron fold out chairs. Like that's where we started.
Goodness.
Come a long way.
And it sounded like
way.
crap. It sounded terrible.
Yep. Now it sounds a little less like crap, which is
still sounds terrible. It's just the content's terrible.
That's just our voices.
We sound good. Content's terrible.
All right.
I will tell you what though, compliment to Lucas. He was absolutely made to be like on the radio. Like like this is his true calling. Like he just has a voice that like just carries. Like he is like destined to be the host.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it helps when he's the preacher man. He's good at
true.
public speaking.
Well, yeah, it was a little inside baseball. We were all at the beginning. We're like, let's each one of us host, and then Lucas did the first one. We're like, no, you're the host.
Yeah, you go ahead.
You win.
I'm not going after that.
Yeah, I'm not following this one.
All right. So next question is from, and I love that he changed his name. For the person formerly known as Lord Zukor, he is now Zord Lucor, and he has a picture of Megazord on it.
Zord Lucor, I love it.
He says, "What is something you have bought but have never used?"
Ooh.
Bought but never used.
Can it be something I've been given but have never used? Or does it?
I don't think there are any rules.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know one thing I got for Christmas, and I'm sure he knows that I haven't used it. My father-in-law got my brother-in-law and myself both CB radios, just in case, like, if the world goes apocalyptic.
Apocalypse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
need a couple of apocalypse radios.
Yeah. Keep it in mint condition until the apocalypse.
Yeah. So it is still very much in the box right now. It'd be interesting to try to learn how to use it, but yeah, it is very much in the box right now. Stare at it in the box.
Stare at it in the box.
And I'm like looking around to try and get an idea here.
Yeah, I bought a like 1969 Chevy Nova car, but it's one of those cars where you have to paint it yourself. And I was at
serious stuff.
Yeah, my wife and I were at Hobby Lobby months ago. This was in 21, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do this. And my wife's like, Are you gonna do it? I don't think you are. And I was like, you can't tell me what to do, so I'm gonna buy it.
I'm buying it now for sure.
And so yeah, it's still in the box. And I'm worried that the paint that I bought is dried out by now. So yeah, I totally lost that. And it's still, I look at it. It's in my entertainment center. It's in the bottom. and it stares at me every single day. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do it this weekend. And that weekend comes, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that.
I just throw it up on a shelf in the box.
Yeah. It's like this is what it could look like.
Nice.
So I don't actually buy a lot of things. Like I don't really like buy myself a lot of things, I guess. Like there have definitely been pieces of clothing that I've bought. Um I I used to buy more shoes more often. Like I love shoes. Like I could shop for shoes all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That may be one like weird part of my psyche that we've never explored. But I bought shoes, multiple pairs, and I'm like in the store. I'm like, man, I gotta have these. And I've never worn them. I hate them. Like as soon as I got home, I'm like, I don't know when I'm ever gonna wear those. Like I don't know why I bought that.
Dang it.
So that's it. And then I have a bunch of Funko Pops, but they're not really designed to be used. One day they'll be on a shelf.
So you leave all your Funko Pops in the box?
They are currently in the box. I used to have the Star-Lord one on my desk before I moved, but I just put it back in the box, and they're all actually just in a drawer on my desk. I think I only have like maybe 7 or 8 of them. Not too many.
Gotcha. Sweet deal. Our next question comes from someone we may be a little familiar with, Mr. Pastor Coach Ham on the Discord, aka
Who's that?
some stranger, some dude who walked in off the street. No, obviously Mr. Lucas Ham Swisher. He says, as I will not be joining my GMG brothers this week, why not be a joiner and ask a question? Why not? So last week, I cut myself on the Adam's apple while shaving, and even a day after, it was randomly bleeding to the point where I had to use one of my kids' Doc McStuffins Band-Aids. That's special.
Oh man, that's the worst spot to shave.
Honestly, I have cut myself so many times while shaving that I wish I just never had to do it again. Which daily or weekly chore or activity do you wish you could just make cease to exist or never be necessary again? Making food. I wish it would just be ready.
That's a good one.
I absolutely hate cooking. I hate it. I hate
I'm not a
cooking.
fan either.
Like, absolutely hate it.
It drives me crazy. I feel like I'm bouncing off the walls in the kitchen, like just waiting for stuff.
Yep.
That is a very good one. Usually it's like, oh man, I'm gonna make something. I was like, what can I put in the microwave? Like let's just make it. Like I want 2 minutes and I'm done.
I would like to take so I guess under this fantasy island scenario, it still happens. We're just getting rid of the process to which it happens, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Okay. I would get rid of showering.
Oh.
Clean all the time.
You just be clean, like, and not have to go through the whole process. That would be awesome. That's the time you cut in the morning.
Yeah, every morning. You know how long? It's just like, but I like the shower. I like sitting there.
I always take way too long because I'm like in there contemplating my life.
You're like, dude, am I calling in sick today? I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't care if I lose this job.
That's basically become my version of coffee now. That's what helps me wake up.
Yeah.
Just taking a shower in the morning.
If I can't take a shower in the morning, no.
So apparently it's healthy for you, and you'll be like, I guess like I don't want to say more weight because it seems obvious, but no, like after you take your hot shower to turn it like really cold and stay in it for like a minute or something and then get out. It's supposed to like make you feel so much better. But I'd like to like borderline light myself on fire in the shower.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
gotta be the hot water.
What I usually do is when I'm in the shower, I turn it like 75%, and then every like 30 seconds, just like another quarter inch, another quarter inch, another quarter inch until it's like all the way, and I have no idea how I'm still in here.
Give me what will kill me,
how do I
and then back it off a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's so hot, but it feels so good.
Nice.
You know what? If I were to get rid of something, it would be driving.
Yeah,
I just want to be somewhere.
That's a really good one.
Like when we're going on vacation here in June and we're driving to Florida, which is like a 12-hour trip, and we're split it up 6 hours, and then we're staying at a hotel, and then we're going to drive another 6 hours the following morning. Can I just be there? Like that's just like I don't I get rid of all this because you know how much time we waste driving.
12 hours behind the wheel is a lot of time.
So ridiculous.
Now that I don't
Um,
go anywhere, like if I have to drive like 20 minutes, I'm like, oh,
I
never gonna
know
get there.
it's like I got a friend that lives 20 minutes away. You might as well be living across the world because I'm not driving 20
Where's that
minutes.
at in China?
Yeah, we live in the same city, but driving to each other's houses are it's an eternity.
You might as well be in another country.
I know exactly.
Oh goodness.
I drove to Brazil or I flew to Brazil before I went over to Ronnie's house. You know, if I'm going to be going more than 20 minutes, might as well fly somewhere.
It seems so much because it's so close and kind of far. Like
Yeah.
it seems just like a horrible task.
You gotta have a schedule your day for it. It's like
You gotta
oh,
get a
man.
hotel room in between, cut it up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Where are you? It's been 3 hours. I had to stop to sleep.
Oh goodness. All right.
What else we got?
Splig. I'm switching over to Twitter real quick.
Okay.
Splig, aka Dopalicious, on Twitter, aka Mike Doherty.
He's got a lot of AKAs.
Yeah. This is gonna be a weird one. Wrong answers only, and answer for someone else. Favorite food.
So I have to answer for like one of you guys.
Yeah.
And you have to answer for me.
Apparently, wrong answers only, and answer for someone else.
I'm gonna do Mark. I'll do Mark. Mark, you do Ronnie. Ronnie, you do me.
Okay.
All right, Mark. Long John Silver's.
Ronnie, I'm gonna do.
Man, I don't even know what he dislikes.
Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah. Favorite food will be escargot.
Okay. Favorite food for Patrick. Gonna say anchovies.
Gross. I tried them and they are not good.
I refuse.
It's just a crappy like raw fish. Like how could that possibly be good?
It's
I
not.
refuse.
It's no. There's bones in there, aren't there?
Is Lucas the one that he likes anchovies?
I don't
Am
know.
I wrong about that?
I don't know. He's a weird guy.
It's definitely not
Seems
me.
like it seems like he would like them though.
Favorite superhero.
What was that one weird one? The Trash Man guy.
Trash man guy.
That's from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I'm the trash man.
Wasn't there a superhero that had like a can of a garbage can as a frisbee? Am I thinking of a different superhero?
Was it Raiden for Mortal Kombat?
No.
You're thinking of a thing that I have no idea what it is.
It's Polka Dot Man. Never mind. It's Polka Dot Man.
Dang it, you took mine. I think Ronnie's favorite superheroes are the Wonder Twins.
Yeah. For Patrick, I'm gonna go with Lex Luthor.
Okay. All right.
Not even a superhero.
AKA Gene Hackman.
Yes.
Oh dang.
He's specifically the Superman that runs stupidly in Superman the movie.
Yeah. Like an ostrich.
Favorite first date idea.
Lava diving.
Yeesh.
Is that a thing?
I don't know, but it's the worst.
It'll be the last thing. First and last
We're going
thing
lava
you do.
diving. I don't think that's a thing.
If it is, it shouldn't be.
If it is, it shouldn't be.
I'm gonna say first date idea. Hit Ronnie's apartment building parking lot.
Yep.
That's good.
That
That's a
is
good one.
For Patrick, I'm gonna go with going to a Cardinals game in St. Louis.
Oh,
Baseball
yikes. Get out of here.
Gross.
Yeah, that is gross. You got it right.
Almost
Fa-
despicable. Borderline despicable.
You know what?
Favorite dinosaur?
Mm. Lucas.
Okay.
He's 40. He's the only 40. He's only 40-year-old that's here on the podcast.
Yep.
He is a dinosaur.
Dang.
Ripping him when he's not here.
Love you, Lucas. I would say I don't remember the name of the dinosaur that like spits out the nasty goo in Jurassic Park and kills Newman from
Oh, that is
Kills Newman. I love the whole
pretty bad.
description of that.
I know his name is Dennis Nedry.
We all know exactly what you're talking
Yep.
about. Also,
Ugh.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't. I have no idea how to even answer this one. For Patrick, I'm going to go with the Stegosaurus.
Nice.
I mean, it's a real dinosaur. I think
I
I'm
know.
the only one that answered with a real dinosaur name.
It's not. That is the wrong answer. That's the wrong answer. Good job.
You nailed it.
What is the right answer? What's your favorite dinosaur?
It's probably I'd go probably a T-Rex. Standard.
Pterodactyl.
I'm a big fan of the raptors. Honestly, they pack
Yeah.
hunt like they're the coolest.
Mhm.
There you go. I like the
Yeah.
whole
Chris
flying
Pratt.
thing.
Leads them, all of it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Good stuff. Favorite social activity?
Favorite social activity? Mosh pitting.
Yes.
Is that a social activity?
You sure can. Sure can
yeah,
be.
yeah. Mark in the mosh pit.
Get a few punches to the face.
Sounds like a Thursday night '90s show. Mark in the mosh pit.
Mark in the mosh pit.
For Ronnie, I will say watching paint dry.
For Patrick, I would say tent camping.
Get out of here. Wrong answer. Again, another wrong answer.
Favorite burger toppings?
Burger toppings. I'm gonna go with hot sauce, boiled eggs, and raw fish.
Pretty sure I just threw up in my mouth.
Honestly, it was up until the raw fish. I'm like, I'd probably eat that sandwich.
I would absolutely not. He lost me at hot sauce and then just kept going down from there.
I just struggled through it.
So I would say sauerkraut for Ronnie.
I love sauerkraut.
Do you? Dang it.
Yeah, I do. What a delightful sandwich it would be.
No.
For Patrick, I'm going to go with the anchovies again.
Oh, gross!
Ugh.
Son of a
Put them on
gun.
a sandwich. It's all the same.
And finally, Disney princess.
Man, I don't even know any of these.
Disney princess. Wrong answer. Shoot. I'm like, what is a wrong answer for a Disney princess? I'm gonna say Vanellope from Wreck-It Ralph.
That's fair. For Ronnie, I would say Ariel.
That's pretty good, honestly. Like, I'm a horrible swimmer. Like, I hate the water. Nailed it.
Nailed it.
For Patrick, I'm gonna go Cinderella.
Cinderella. All right. So last question. You and your family have to move to another place outside the state you currently live tomorrow. All expenses are paid as long as you stay there for 10 years. Where would you go and why would you want to live there?
Is this from Splig as well?
No, this is from, I'm sorry, did I not say who it was? I'm sorry.
No.
It's from You Done Messed Up, A.A. Ron.
You done messed up my Mark.
Yep, sure did. My bad. Put that in we wrong.
Wait, so we have to go live in another city for 10 years with the family?
Yep.
Where would we
tomorrow,
go?
and all expenses
Yeah.
are paid.
Opposite still.
No, this is right answers only.
These are real answers.
Stay with
Yeah.
the answer you want.
I was totally gonna say Cleveland for you, Patrick.
That is the wrong answer. Instead of me to St. Louis and Cleveland in the same Q&A, get out of here. No, I would go to San Diego.
Nice.
Because it's 75 to 80 degrees all year round.
Nice.
It's the most perfect weather. It's where I've always wanted to go, always want to live. Went out there for a few days to see my brother one week, and it was fantastic. And all my thoughts about the city were true, about how wonderful it is, and I would definitely love to go live there.
All right.
I would say Colorado. I've been there one time. I think I was in my either early 20s or just before I was 20. And it was just awesome, man. Like everything about it, like the mountains, like all the views and stuff. Like it was just great.
Very little trees, though.
That's true.
Yeah, because I used to live in Colorado. So, yeah.
There you go.
Very little trees. But yes, it is definitely beautiful out there. I definitely agree with you on that. So
Maybe like a Montana.
There you go.
Yeah.
So for me, I miss New England. But I would kind of want to live somewhere where I haven't lived in New England. So I'll go live in Boston.
The Baston.
Boston.
The Boston.
Like a pack of cat.
Smack packet. It's wicked smack. Yeah, because it's like it's city life, but it's not as crazy as New York City life. So it would be a definite different experience for me to live there and be close enough to where I grew up. I'd only be about an hour away. And I would definitely need all expenses paid there because it's definitely more expensive in the north than it is in the south. So,
And their football team's not good anymore.
Yep, I agree with that.
Tom Brady's gone.
Yep.
Tom Brady.
But yeah, definitely I would be cool with going back to Boston, especially in the fall.
With all that being said, I would never move.
That's fair. Except for that one time.
I'm right there with you.
I like my crappy Ohio weather. I like the Russian roulette we play every day walking out the door.
It's my crappy Ohio weather. All right. And that is it for the questions. Guys, thank you so much for sending those in to us. And so we're going to transition here to our new little segment here. So we're going to be talking about, each week we're going to be talking about the newest episode of Moon Knight, the newest Marvel series. And so that's what's next up. Yes, of course. We are going to be talking about the first episode of Marvel's Moon Knight on Disney+. The first episode was called The Goldfish Problem. And to me,
funny that's what they picked out of that episode to name it after.
Yeah, it's a deep cut. It's a deep cut for that episode, but you get
it is.
You get why. So we start off obviously with our main villain of the series. His name is Arthur Harrow, and I was a little unsettled just watching this clip, just because. You start seeing him sit down. He takes a drink of this water, and he dips his finger in the water and puts it around the glass. And you're like, what on earth is this person doing? Is this like some sort of ritual and stuff? And he's got Bob Dylan going on in the background. And
couldn't have been a more confusing start.
Yeah, but the name of the song is Every Grain of Sand, and that's a song about basically how he sees God working in every little thing in his life. And so to some sort of a fundamentalist believer in this Egyptian god that he is, you kind of get it. But yeah, and then all of a sudden he puts the glass in the napkin and breaks the glass, and then he puts it in his shoes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? And then proceeds to put the shoes on and walk out. Like, I was completely unsettled this entire scene, and I'm like, okay, this is what we're coming into. And Marvel Studios credits. So yeah, we're introduced into the world of Mr. Stephen Grant. Very like sort of
Timid.
Timid, yes, that's the word I was looking for. Outcast kind of person.
Yeah.
But not your typical timid person, because obviously he's got this major issue where he wakes up in bed and he's got himself chained to the bed. He's got sand around his bed. He's got tape on his door. And you're like, what on earth is this person doing? Like, what's going on? Like, what did you guys think of this scene?
So I went into this literally knowing nothing about this character.
Yeah.
In fact, not even knowing that this was a Marvel character. So even going in that way, I decided not to look at anything.
Sure.
So just take it in based on the show. And that first scene where he's like got his like leg like chained to the bed with all the sand around it at first, and I was like, oh well, he's a werewolf, and he just wants to see if he got away, like, or something. I was like, you don't really, at that point, you have no idea what is going on.
Yeah.
And it kind of like, because of that, like, it was interesting because they put you almost like in his shoes where he wakes up and he doesn't know what's happened either.
Yep.
So throughout most of this episode, I feel like you're just kind of like wondering what's going on. And, obviously knowing like, if like the lore of the character, or any of that backstory, like you kind of start to know what's going on. Somebody like me, however, nope, didn't really know.
Yeah, I'm the same. I had no idea. I had no backstory of who Moon Knight is. I never read any of the comics. Has not been in any the Marvel movies, and the Marvel TV shows are my knowledge of the Marvel cinema, all the Marvel characters. So this is totally new to me. So I was just trying to take it all in. I didn't no idea who he was, who this Stephen Grant guy was, what kind of world he's in, what kind of villain he is, or if he's a hero. I don't know yet. So yeah, that's how I kind of jumped in.
There is still a lot of explaining to do.
Yeah,
throughout the series.
Yeah.
Obviously, the first episode doesn't answer all your questions. It kind of leaves you hanging there for a lot of them. So there was a lot of stuff in this first episode. I feel like that was, a little confusing if you don't, I guess, know the whole story. So yeah, I mean, they did a good job at kind of like drawing me in though, like, because things were very bizarre and like peculiar, like weird things are happening. So then you kind of get like focused on what it is. It just keeps you involved, really, though.
I thought throughout when he would black out and all of a sudden come to, those were hysterical. Where he's just like, I don't know where I am. Like, what? I have a gun in my hand and all the people are dead. It's just like
he woke up in like that town or something. Like one time, I was like,
yeah,
is this
he's
even
like,
in the same
hello,
like universe?
Hello, and then just get out guns and start shooting them.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, and that's throughout the entire episode. That's what it was. And then when he hears that voice, it sounds like Venom's talking to him.
Yeah.
Like, it totally sounds like Venom. So yeah, I'm like, is there like, does he a symbiote? Like, I don't understand, because that's all I could connect it with was the Venom. And but yeah, I thought it was hilarious every time he woke up.
I was wondering if there was like an invisible person like that we're gonna find out about later, like, because he talks and it sounds like he's like, obviously like right there. So
I think it's the voice in his head somehow, but we don't know yet.
So I can tell you who it is, but because
no spoilers,
okay.
no ahead of
Pat,
the series.
Pat will be
spoilers.
upset. He will be upset with you.
I will drive to Virginia. I will pass Ronnie's house to go to your house to punch you.
Well, yeah. So obviously they establish she's just all of a sudden in this random city in like I don't know some weird mountainous area like nowhere near where he was.
Yeah, it's like a complete bizarre change of like scenery.
Yep, and he's broken his jaw and has to like or dislocated it and has to
That was
snap it back
horrible
into
listening to that,
place.
by the way. I
Yeah.
hate sounds like that. Like he's like
Mm.
snapping his jaw back into place, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah. And then, of course, he ends up meeting Arthur Harrow himself, who's, he's got some sort of mystical powers of some sort. He's got the powers of Emmet, who is apparently this some sort of deity that is able to judge you based on whether you have done or are going to do good or bad things. We see that one person is judged to be a good person and the other is judged to be a bad person, and that bad person hadn't even done anything bad yet, and they immediately died. And then, of course, Arthur Harrow takes interest in Stephen, and he's got this scarab pendant kind of thing. And then you find that Mark is very much. I mean, excuse me, Stephen is very much not in control at this moment, even though he's kind of the main person driving.
Which it felt like when he was like trying to give him the scarab, he was like, I don't know what's going on. It
yeah.
definitely
He's trying to hand it back to him. That
Like,
was
I'm
hilarious.
trying to give it to you.
it definitely felt like Venom right there.
Yeah.
This is like because Venom was taking over Eddie Brock's body. That's what I have a lot of similarities so far.
It was pretty funny when it was like held out completely behind him and he just turned around with his arm like completely like stuck out, trying to give it to him.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
And I'm pretty sure
Oscar
the guy
Isaac.
just thought he was making a mockery of him.
Yeah, he acted that well, just like pretending like something was controlling him.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, solid.
But and then obviously we're introduced to things like where Steven works. It's the heartbreaking scene where he finds out that he's asked this girl that he really likes out, and this guy has absolutely no concept of time, to where he thinks it's Friday night and he goes out for this date, and it turns out it's Sunday. He has no idea how it became Sunday. Because he thinks it's Friday. He missed the date.
Yep.
The date's obviously very upset. And Steven gets so upset that he, a vegan, decides to eat a piece of steak. So that was heart-wrenching to watch.
I felt horrible like for him in that scene. Like,
You did?
plus the girl
Like,
just gave him the business over the phone too. Like,
I didn't think he had like the way he lives his life, like how did he charm someone like to be able to take someone out? Like when she like gave him the cold shoulder and just like yelled at him on the phone, like I was like, he deserved it. Like he doesn't even deserve this date right now. So I don't believe that this date was real in any sense of the imagination.
Well, what I think has happened is Mark, who we are introduced to later in the episode.
Yes.
Mark has taken over at several points.
Oh,
so-
good call.
So
Good
Mark
call.
is the one that has asked out the lady. Mark
Okay.
knows what Steven does. And so even though like Steven chains himself to the bed, puts the sand on, puts the tape on, Mark knows his deal and has been fixing everything so that Steven wouldn't know what's going on. But yeah, so I think that's what's going on, is that anything that Steven can't explain why it's happened, Mark has taken over at some point.
Okay.
And then he says, he wakes up in the morning feeling like, he's gotten the life beaten out of him. That's because I think he's been Moon Knight more than once.
because he is getting it beat out of him.
Yeah, he is getting the crap beat out of him.
Yeah.
Now, I think we'll get some gaps filled in as to what's been going on, obviously. But yeah, obviously, and then later on in the episode, Arthur catches up to Steven, and he's trying to understand Steven and what's going on, and he has that whole scene where he's trying to judge Steven, and he's like, there's chaos in you, and the little scale is like just it won't land on anything. And so obviously there's something going on with Steven. And then later on in the in the museum at night when he's doing inventory, he gets chased by this jackal.
That was terrifying. Honestly, that thing was crazy looking.
Yep. All I can think of is, I don't know if you've ever heard of the comedian Mike Birbiglia.
Yes.
I have.
So he does this whole thing where he was like sleepwalking or something like that, or half sleepwalking, and he would think that there was a jackal in the room. But yeah, that was insane how he was just running for it, and just the cinematography things that you'd have to really pay attention to notice, like when he's walking by and there's a glass case there, and he keeps walking, but the reflection stays there.
Yeah.
And so like there's foreshadowing.
That kind of happens a couple times in the episode. Like there's
Yeah.
a mirror at some point that like he kind of like looks into, and it's different.
Yeah, he can, like, he hears Mark telling him to stop looking, especially when he finds all that, like the burner phone and the key in the wall and everything.
It's like they're two completely different people,
Yeah.
and they're kind of working against each other.
Yeah, and the interesting thing to me is, like, when I first saw the trailers for this show, and I heard that Oscar Isaac was doing a British accent, I was like, his accent doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound like a perfect British accent. And we know that's because he's not British, but it makes sense. Go ahead.
So when he's on the phone, she's like, "Why are you doing that horrible accent?"
Yeah, she's like, "What's with the accent?" But it makes sense because Mark is not British.
Yeah.
And Steven is a different personality altogether. So it's this person who's not British with this personality that's British. So it makes sense that his accent's not going to be spot on whatsoever. And then finally we get to the end of the episode where he's cornered in the bathroom. Which, by the way, that shot of him walking out of the bathroom as Moon Knight definitely leaked like a year ago.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's pretty cool. I mean, that's pretty cool uniform, honestly.
Yeah. And Mark is like trying to fight with him, like, come on, I can save us. Let me take over. Let me take control. And then finally, the very last shot, he turns into Moon Knight and just starts beating the ever-loving crap out
I love how he drags him back in.
Yeah.
He's like trying to get out the doorway, and you just see him get pulled right back in. That's pretty cool.
But yeah, all in all, I think this was a super solid episode of to start out Moon Knight. I'm really excited to see where things go. I like the trippiness of it, the mental health side of things.
Yeah.
So Lucas actually has a comment that he wants to make, some comments about Moon Knight, but you'll have to check that out in the audio portion of the episode, because unfortunately I can't pull it up at the moment. And
I got you.
And so you'll
We'll
hear
place
that.
it right here.
Okay, Lucas, that was great. Thank you so much.
Nice work.
But yeah, if you want to hear his thoughts, listen to the audio portion of the podcast. But yeah, that wraps it up for our Moon Knight episode recap.
It took me like the first 10 minutes of this episode. Like, you ever get stuck where you're like, I know this actor. What else is he in? That happened to me. And I was like, and then like after the 10 minutes, I'm like, how could I have forgotten? Like, how could I have forgotten that he's in Star Wars?
Oh yeah, Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
He's Poe Dameron.
Yeah, I was like, well, it's Poe Dameron, the main guy. Like, I don't know the actor's name.
It's funny thing, I can't remember the last thing Ethan Hawke was in. And
Gattaca.
was it really the last movie?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
It's been a while.
But I mean, like, obviously he's aged quite a bit, but I mean,
Yeah.
I think he's doing a phenomenal job as the villain of the show. I'm definitely interested to see where all of this goes.
Very interested.
So with that, Pat, did
All
you
right.
want to
I'll
us
close
home?
it out. I'll close it out. Before we do that, we got a little bit of housekeeping to do. Fluff pillows, top your towels with Andy's candies or whatever Lucas says. That doesn't make any sense.
This thing just falls apart without him.
Love it.
If you want to, you can find us on Twitch. All in the show notes. We're twitching all week long. You'll find us there.
Find
Twitch.
us on the internet.
Speaking of
you
that,
can find us on Twitter.
Speaking
you can
of
find
that,
us on Facebook. You can. Mark can say something.
Yes, you can. Yeah, speaking of Twitch, so Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, since I am going to be out of town this weekend, Wednesday night I will be streaming the final portion of Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. It is the final dungeon. So as many people that can come out as possible. 9 p.m. Eastern over at the GMG Twitch channel.
Yep. Follow, add the alert to know when Mark and all the folks go live so you don't miss it. And then you can join us on Twitter, discourse with us on Discord. All of the links are in the show notes. You can even call us at 929 GMG, guys. Let your voice be heard. And that's it. Let's see. How does it go?
How do we do this?
May God bless and guide your lives.
No, for Mark.
Oh, there you go.
Ronnie, and the spirit of Lucas Ham, and all you joiners out there, go get your good morning on, and may God bless and guide your lives as you live, as you work, and as you game.